Alright, look, I know power leveling is a heated debate right now. Some people are still not happy with the system, and they are waiting for more future changes from Bungie, while they have made some updates recently, increasing the completion reward drops for some activities, including the one we're going to be talking about right now, and also making it so you get +1s no matter what, basically, as long as you get the right score in your completions for the portal. However, for those people that are waiting, plus the people that would like to get into that Tier 5 bracket to farm Tier 5 gear, I would consider at least doing this farm for this weekend, if not further beyond. So what I'm talking about is going to be running Heffin's Vengeance, the dungeon boss, in the portal for pinnacle activities, and you're going to be getting 2-minute runs in, maybe 3 minutes if you're a little bit slow. But basically, Bungie has updated this activity to give you 2 completion rewards on top of the bonus drops that you can get and all that, and of course prime engrams. And now, currently, you can do this in roughly 2 minutes. That's 1 drop basically every 1 minute, maybe 90 seconds. And by doing this, you can get power level gains, you can get your prime to drop here, you can get Bushido gear, which is one of the best sets in the game, you can farm Mint Retrograde, Outrageous Fortune, the new Scout Rifle some people like, and so on. So it's a very good farm for a very limited amount of time, and it's extremely easy. The reason I'm saying people should at least farm it for this weekend is because in a couple of days, the Stern bug and the Sword bug with lightweight frames will likely be patched. Well, we know the Sword is going to get patched. They actually haven't said anything about Stern, so that might not be, but I'm giving a preemptive heads up. And you can use these right now in this farm to make it extremely easy, but I will say you won't need these weapons to still do this farm even after next Tuesday. They just make your life a lot easier, you know? So let's talk about it. There's one thing you're going to need to bring, and then one thing you should bring to make life much easier. Now, surprisingly, the need is not going to be a lightweight frame sword. That's going to be the you should bring item. The need is actually someone using Salvation's Grip. The TLDR on Salvation's Grip is basically you throw ice on the floor. That's the gist that you need to know about it. You just kind of cover everything with ice, right? And you're probably thinking, what the hell does this have to do with farming Heffin? How is this going to help? So, in this version of Heffin's Vengeance, you spawn in during the traversal of the Warlord's Ruin dungeon, right before the final boss. But we're going to completely bypass this section and go straight to the boss. The way you do this is you have one player standing by with Salvation's Grip, and then one person is going to commit a toaster bath, Sudoku, if you will. You can do this with a rocket, a GL, a rocket sidearm, rocket pulse, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're going to try to plant yourself kind of in the middle of the spawn zone by the pillars. You'll die. Then the player with Salvation's Grip will try to cover your entire ghost spawn res area with the icicles. Essentially, you want to literally bury your teammate in ice. Particularly, you want to have the glaciers and the stasis crystals kind of just surround the ghost. That way, it has no respawn point. And what happens is, when your teammate does try to respawn, they will respawn right next to the boss. And that's all there is to it. It's very easy. Once your teammate is at the boss, they can then pull you with joining allies, and you can start the fight. The beauty of this is, you don't even need to rally. Your team will just pull you, and then you want to have no ammo in your sword anyway for Gold Tusk or Quick Fang, so it works out perfectly. Once you get into the encounter, all you want to do is just either stack up your abilities if you need to for things like Star Eaters or Banner of War, etc. Then shoot Heffin's Eyes to summon the 2 Stalkers. Once they spawn in, kill them immediately, as you don't need to wait for them to do the little totem trick, because the 2 initial ones will be plenty to kill the boss. Immediately cap the totems that you just made, and then wait for the Jabroni squad to spawn in, so you can melee them in the face, and then get that stupid corruption off of you. As soon as you do, just back up to the edge of the arena, and stand on some rocks, so they can just die from the corruption. After that, get ready to start the damage phase. So for damage, you're going to just whack him with the sword, and he's going to fall over. But I do want to mention that the best possible characters to use for this is going to be Titans and Hunters. The reason for Titans is because Wormgod's Caress with 5 stacks and a debuff on Heffin literally can just one-shot Heffin. Outright, just one-shot bang, you're done. Now, if you don't want to use Wormgods, or you're not used to just having 5 stacks, or you want to run Syntheseps, for example, that's totally fine as well. Synthos are also really good, just not quite as good as Wormgods, but they still do massive damage. Hunters can run Syntheseps just like Titans can, but they also have the utility of Tether. Tether will give you a free 30% debuff on Heffin, which will help you just 1 or 2 shot him instantly. Now, Warlocks, you also can do massive damage with your sword if you have one. It's not to say you're not good at this fight, it's just the other two are better utility-wise, I would say. Anyway, Warlocks, you also have a second option here. If you don't own Quick Fang or Gold Tusk, you can just go Song of Flame. And the Song of Flame super on Heffend with the Stern Bug also just goes Wumbo mode and can do incredible damage on him. So if your teammates happen to not one-bang the boss, then your Song of Flame will. The last thing I want to mention is the portal modifiers. Now, there's two ways you can do this. It depends on what your light level is and what modifiers you need to pick to get the proper score for your rewards in the portal. But I do want to mention that, if possible, you should avoid having lock loadouts on, because you want to quickly get your sword to 0 ammo, and if you have lock loadouts on, then you have to stand there like an idiot at a wall, slicing your sword like 80 times. If you don't have lock loadouts on, you can just switch between your Quick Fang or your Gold Tusk and a different weapon like 4 times, and then you just straight go to 0 ammo. Also, if you don't have lock loadouts on, the Salvation's Grip player can just get off of Salvation's Grip once you get to Heffend, and can also be a third sword for the boss. Lastly, if you are using Gold Tusk or Quick Fang, make sure that your melee damage is super high, as much as you can. The sword counts for both weapon and melee damage, but weapon damage doesn't scale as high as melee damage does, so prioritize melee first, and then whatever you have left over after, put into weapons. On top of that, I would also run 2 Arc Weapon Surge if you're running Gold Tusk, or 2 Void Surge if you're running Quick Fang, and then 1 copy of Recuperation, just so when you pick up orbs in the, setup portion of Heffend, getting totem capped, and then punching some Scions, then when you pick up an orb, you will at least heal. And speaking of armor mods, don't forget that you can put in font mods for your melee stat into your gloves as well. So ideally, you can get your melee to 160, then put in 2 font mods, and when you pick up an orb, your melee stat will be at 200 for maximum damage. Alright, that's it. My rambo's over. Hopefully this helps some people out there that do want to get their level up and farm some tier 5 gear for Renegades. If you don't, I understand. Not for everybody, it is what it is. But I thought I would get this small PSA out there before Tuesday, so if people do want to farm, they can. And if you're someone that's still on the fence on the leveling system and might not want to do it, let me hear what you think should be the improvement to the portal for the leveling system so that people might want to come back to level. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing today. It is much appreciated. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or comment below as well. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you can leave "Why is everyone in this game bald?" as the comment. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.